do something with the filter? Maybe I did. Hello, everyone. This is Aqualyn, and welcome to Sacred Self-Love Sundays. I'm so excited to be with you today. Hi, Sandra. How are you? Yeah, I'm sorry I'm a couple of minutes late. For some reason, whenever I tried to click to go on live, the live option didn't come up. It just kept saying story. So I had to go back out and come back in a couple of times for me to be here. So thank you for joining me, Sandra, and I'm sure other people will join us, but whether you are live or whether you are watching the playback recording, I just want to say thank you for sharing this space with me and allowing me to share some information that I hope would benefit your life. So I wanted to I feel like I may have done something with the filter, so it looks a little off or different, but that's okay. So I wanted to share today just a couple of things. So I don't think I'll be long with you. These Sacred Self-Love Sundays are really good for me because usually when I teach, I like to have all of my notes and bullet points written down. And for some reason, Spirit wants me to just free flow through these. And so I call them unscripted because that's exactly what they are. I do last week and this week meditate on what I want to talk about. But for the most part, I don't have bullet points or anything. I'm just going to share. And with me saying that, last week I talked about our 4 best teachers. And between last week and this week, I realized that there's another teacher that I should add to that list. And so just to recap last week, pardon me, the 4 best teachers are number 1, God, Holy Spirit, holy help is what I like to call it, which is your angels, your, Holy Spirit, God, Jesus, source, all there is, whatever your reference is for God, that is your best teacher. Your second best teacher, or our second best teacher, is the ego. Our third best teacher is other people's experiences. And our 4th best teacher are our own experiences. But there's one more teacher that we have to add to this, and that is nature. Mother Nature is a wonderful teacher. And I thought about this because, of course, we are in autumn. The weather is changing. The leaves are falling. And as I was thinking, I was like, wow, that's something that I have not up until now included in that list of our best teachers. But nature is a wonderful teacher. I think about how a flower can grow through concrete, how, the leaves fall from the trees. That teaches us to be able to easily let go. You don't see a tree holding on to the leaves saying, I don't want you to go. I don't want you to leave my life. I want you to be here forever. We don't see that happen. And so nature teaches us so many wonderful things. Seed time and harvest teaches us that, when we plant a seed and we give it time, that we will reap a harvest, and the harvest is always greater than the seed. Point being, if you plant an apple seed, you get an apple tree with many apples with many more seeds than that one seed that you sowed to get whatever it is that you're sowing. Also with reaping and sowing, what you sow, you will reap. So it's so many beautiful and wonderful lessons that nature is here to teach us. The river just flows. It doesn't fight or struggle to flow. It just flows. So we have so much to learn from nature. And so I want to encourage you that if you are not a person that likes nature, which I could say that about myself for a long time. I didn't consider myself a nature person. But the older I get, the more I learn that there's so much that we can learn from nature. And so I moved into a new space, and now I get a chance to go for walks. And I enjoy watching I've always done this since I was a little girl, but watching the clouds, just looking up and watching the clouds. I told you that I follow the one called Jay here on Instagram, and he did this wonderful video, and I'm sure it's on his page somewhere, but it was about a month or so ago, where he had pictures of the clouds just flowing by. And he likened that to our thoughts, that we shouldn't get attached to our thoughts, that they are just floating by just like the clouds. So there are so many wonderful lessons for us to learn. I also sit and I watch. It used to be one bird in this. We moved in June. So around the time that we moved, there was this one bird that would be in the bush right outside of our house. And I remember just watching this bird one day, and it flew away. And then it came back, and when it came back, it had food in its mouth. Then it flew away, and it came back with someone else, with another bird, and they were both eating, and they both just seemed like they were just enjoying each other's company. That is something that we can learn from nature. We can learn from just watching nature and being a part of nature and being out in nature. A lot of people talk about earthing and walking around with your feet on the ground to help ground you. All of that is important. I believe that we are here in this, what I like to call Earth School, to learn some very beautiful lessons. And some lessons come by way of challenges, I'm going to call it that. And some lessons come by way of just us observing. And so as we think about those 5 great teachers, just know that they are all in our lives to enrich us and to help us and to allow us to be more of who we are and who we are here to continue to become until we transition. So that's really all I wanted to share around that. So now I want to get into what I want to specifically share today for today's Sacred Self-Love Sundays message. And that is, I talk about this in SelfLove University a lot. And just so I can let you know, those of you who are new watching, I started SelfLove University in 2000 and I believe 17. And 17, 18, 19. Yeah, 17, 16, 17. Either way. But SelfLove University up until May of this year, I taught every week. So we have an archive of classes in our online library, but I taught every week principles and things that I'm sharing here, and some of the things that I'm sharing here, but I just go way more into detail. And so you're going to hear me mention SelfLove University a lot. SelfLove University is a reflection. If you watch the live, my first Sacred Self-Love Sunday, I talked about my spiritual journey, and SelfLove University is a reflection of that spiritual journey. The teachings are different. The teachings are more open to spirituality than to religion and things like that. And so I said all that to say that you'll hear me reference that a lot. And if you want to learn more about SelfLove University, feel free to click the link in my bio. Although I'm not teaching weekly classes, we do have an online library of over 200 classes that are available. Most of them are video classes and a few audio classes, but they are available to you. So if you want to learn more, then feel free to click the link in my bio. But that's not why I'm here. I just wanted to share with you that that resource is available. But I said all of that to say that this is a lesson that I talk about and teach in SelfLove University. And I think that it's a powerful lesson for all of us to grasp. And so what I want to talk about today is the 3 voices that govern our lives. The 3 voices that govern our lives. So we do have voices that govern our lives. I believe that words are very powerful. The Bible talks about, in the beginning, God said. The Bible also shares with us that the Word became flesh, meaning the Word, which is God. Jesus became flesh and dwelt among us. But I also believe that our words, what we speak, becomes flesh and dwells among us, meaning that what we speak, we create. And we live in our everyday experiences. And so this is why we have to be mindful of the words that we're speaking, but also we have to be mindful of the voices that we allow to govern our lives. Because the thing about the voices that govern our lives is they could either be bad voices or they could be good voices. And here's the thing, the most powerful thing about words is that words build your belief. Words build your belief. Scripture says in Romans chapter 10, verse 19, that faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God. a component of faith is belief. Belief means to accept as true. So the more you hear something, it will build your belief. It will build your faith. And whatever it is that you're hearing. So I believe the opposite of that is true, or not the opposite. I believe that the other end of that, I don't want to call it opposite because it's really not the opposite. It's the same principle, but just in a different way. That fear is also built by what you hear. And so most of us are living our lives either in faith or in fear based on what we hear, what we have heard, or what we are speaking and voicing to ourselves. And so the three voices that govern our lives, I just want to break these three down for you today. And the first voice is what I like to call echo voices. And these are the voices of people that were in your life at one point, or maybe they're still in your life, but they said something to you years ago or months ago or days ago that you're still hearing echoing in your inner ear. You're hearing it echo, whether that's good, that, hey, you're amazing, or you're no good, you're going to be just like your no good mother, your no good father, or whatever. Those voices are the ones that we hear echoing over and over and over and over and over again. And they play out in the background of our lives, and we don't really think of that much of it. But because we're still hearing it in our inner ear, it is continuing to build either our faith or build our fear. So I want you to take a moment this week and think about the voices, the echo voices in your life. Are you hearing those voices say something negative to you? Or are you hearing those voices say something positive to you? And it doesn't necessarily have to be from childhood. I mean, of course, voices from childhood are still echoing in our lives. But like I said, it could be 2 weeks ago. Maybe you had a run-in with someone and they said something bad to you. Or maybe you had a great experience. I know last Friday, I went to a doctor's visit. And it was not an ordinary doctor's visit. I ended up having to change the date of my doctor's visit. So I didn't get a chance to see the doctor. I got a chance to see the nurse practitioner. But also, there were new people in the office. And so I met a new nurse. And as she and I were talking, she stopped in the middle of the conversation. And she said, "You have just this peace about you." And it just sparked a conversation. And I remember that because I carried that conversation with me, and I kept hearing her voice echo. And I was so grateful that she could feel it and she can see the peace that I carry with me, or I like to say the peace that I am, because what we exude out really is a part of what and who we are. It is not a part of, it is what and who we are. And so I said that to say that conversation was still echoing in my heart and in my mind. And I got a chance to see her yesterday. No, not yesterday. I got a chance to see her this past Friday when I went to have a monthly treatment that I have to have for health reasons. And so those voices doesn't necessarily have to be childhood voices. They could be voices of people that you heard say something to you last week. It could be something that you heard in the news. It could be something that maybe you heard someone say to another person, and it's still echoing in your life. So do an evaluation of those voices that's echoing. And I want you to compare that to what you are currently believing. So if you are currently believing that you are no good, just like you're just like your no good mother or your no good father or whatever that is, then that voice is shaping your belief right now. If you are currently believing that you can do all things and that you have the power and you have the strength to do whatever it is that you set your heart and mind to, because that's what someone sowed into your life, those words were sown into your life, then that's what's shaping your current beliefs. So now let me get into the second set of voices that govern our lives. I call these the current voices. Those are the people that you are talking to, the people that you are listening to. Like right now, you're listening to this audio, to this video and audio, whatever. And I am a current voice in your life. I listen to the Sawyers, who are Antoinette and Clifton Sawyer from Cornerstone Life Center, and I watch them every Sunday morning on Facebook. And then as soon as they get off, I come straight to Instagram and I watch the one called Jay. There are a few other people that I watch on Facebook, well, not Facebook, on YouTube, but I'm very specific about the current voices that I have in my life. I'm even very specific about the current people that I talk to about situations in my life. There are certain people that I go to about certain things because I already know their mentality. I already know, what they may say that may deter me, or maybe they're going to give me their opinion and I don't need their opinion. I just need them to be honest and tell me the truth about my situation. So I'm very mindful about the people that I go to, the people that I'm listening to right now, because I believe and I know that who I'm currently listening to is also building my belief. The more I listen to certain people, the more I feel my belief is being built, whether it is, a belief that is based around faith and trust, or a belief that is based around fear, because belief can go two ways. You can believe a good thing. You can also believe a bad thing. You can believe in something that is powerful. You can believe in something that will take away from your power. Whatever you believe, you behave, and what you behave is really your life. So who are the current voices? And by current voices, are you listening to the news every day and now you are living in fear because of what you're hearing? Are you, on social media every day and you are reading people's opinions? Are they shaping your beliefs? Are you reading spiritual material? That's a current voice that could be in your life. Even though books were written years ago, if you're reading it now, it's a current voice in your life. That person's voice, whether they are living with us now or they have since transitioned, that person's voice is currently speaking in your life right now. So who are you listening to? And whoever you're listening to, what are they building in you? Are they building faith in you, or are they building fear in you? So that's the second set of voices that govern our lives. The third voice is one that governs our lives, is your inner voice. Your inner voice. And the thing about your inner voice, just like with the other voices, your inner voice could speak fear into you, or it can speak faith into you. The reason why I say that is because I talked about our experiences last week and how, we can observe and be on the outside looking in, or, and seeing people's conditions and situations or whatever. And we draw conclusions in our minds. And when we draw those conclusions, then we speak that to ourselves. And so what you may look at someone who's successful and say, well, they're only successful because someone gave them a handout. So that means that you're saying to yourself, I can only be successful if I receive a handout, as opposed to, this person is successful because they worked hard and they had faith and they believed, which means you're saying to yourself, I can be successful because I work hard, I have faith, and I believe. So you have those voices the voice in you that currently plays and speaks to you. Now, here's the thing about the inner voice. I'm gonna say the fearful inner voice is when it tells you that you can't be, you can't do, you can't have. When it, we'll call it inner critic. When it tells you all the things that you can't do, all the things you can't be, all the things you can't have, all the places you can't go, when it tells you, you're stupid, or, when it puts you down, what we don't do is we don't talk back to that voice. We don't negate that voice. We don't say, no, that's not true. We usually, and I'm saying usually because some people do, we catch it and we can speak a new word. But what we usually do is we just hear that voice continuously play over and over and over in our minds. And we don't combat it. at all. Whereas if I came to you and said, oh, you're stupid, you would probably want to fight me, or, tell me, oh, no, you don't know me. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm not stupid. I'm smart. I'm this, I'm that, So it's the same thing with our inner voice. We have to use our words to combat the inner voice, the inner critic. So when the inner critic says that, you shouldn't have done it this way, and it's really harsh with you, then give yourself grace and say, you know what? Yes, I know that I shouldn't have done it that way, but I choose to offer grace and forgiveness to myself, and now I speak a new word in my life. Now, speaking a new word or using your voice also means that you're going to have to open your mouth and speak. Now, this is something that I had a problem with for a very long time, because by nature, I am a very quiet person. And I used to, and sometimes still now, suffer a lot in silence. Not so much now. The older I get and the more I am confident in who I am, because I share with you, I suffered with low self-worth and low self-esteem for a very long time. And a part of that low self-worth and low self-esteem was me not speaking up for myself. But now the older I get, I use my words, I use my voice. So using your words means to open your mouth and say the thing that you're wanting to create. This is why I have my sacred space with words all over the place, because it trained me to use my voice. I shared with you a couple of weeks ago just a few of my affirmations. I'm still building my affirmation wall in my new space, but I also have treatments here where I, say, you know what, this is a condition in my life that I want to dissolve. So I dissolve this. And now I allow, another part of that treatment is now I allow whatever it is that I want to allow in my life. But I use my words to do that. And the thing about using your words is this, we are made up of 90% of water. And if you put water in front of a speaker, what does it do? If you have a speaker with music on and you put a glass of water right in front of it, that water vibrates to the frequency of the sound that the speaker is making. Well, your body is made up of 90 or over 90% of water. And so your body is vibrating to the frequency of the words that you speak. Yes, it's a metaphysical message, but it's also a very spiritual message, because that is how this thing works. You have to open your mouth and use your words. Now, what's going to happen is when you start using your words, especially if you were like me and you had a hard time vocalizing. I remember some of my first teachings, certain things I would say, I could feel like a big, huge knot in my throat, because I hadn't used my voice in that way in a long time. Well, I hadn't used my voice in that way, period. And then the more I started sharing, the more I realized that knot is not there anymore. Wow, But I said that to say that when you start using your voice, if you have not used your voice before, what can happen is you may feel that knot. You may feel like maybe you're whispering, and maybe sometimes you have to start as a whisper and let that whisper grow. One of the exercises that I give to my clients to start using their voice, or to really feel the power of their voice, is for them to scream. Whether you scream in a pillow, whether you just sit in your car and roll up the windows and you just scream, but use your words so that you can change your life. Because guess what? Words do become flesh. When they become flesh, they dwell among us, meaning that they do become our experiences. So I want you to take time this week to evaluate the words that you're speaking to yourself and ask yourself, is this my inner critic or is this my inner light? Because your inner light, your intuition, the infinite part of you, the God part of you, is always going to speak love and encouragement to you. But that inner critic is always going to speak fear and discouragement to you. So whenever you're afraid, whenever you feel like you are, whenever you're just really critical of yourself, know that that is the inner critic and that is not your inner light. So I wanted to just give you this information this week, just to encourage you to just take an evaluation of the voices that you are allowing in your life, the echo voices, the current voices, as well as your inner voice, and see how that is playing out when it comes to your beliefs. And here's a way that you can choose to, I'm going to say, change or even silence those voices, especially the echo voices. I just said it. Use your words. Open your mouth and say whatever your new truth is. Whatever your new truth is. So the example I gave is, you're just like your no good daddy. You're just like your no good mother or whatever. Then you know what? I am so powerful. I am so strong. I am so gifted. I know how to do all things that are put in my heart and mind to do. Use your voice. And the beauty about using your voice is your body responds to your voice. I say this all the time at SelfLove University, that your voice is the one voice that your body responds to more than anyone else's. You have a unique tone, you have a unique pitch that is exactly for you and for your body. And when you speak to yourself and when you speak to your body, it responds. It listens, it pays attention, because you are the governing voice. I tell the ladies in SelfLove University, you are the priestess of your own life. So you're going to have to really use all of your power, all of your tools, everything that's available to you to govern your body, to govern your life, to govern your world accordingly. So that's all that I wanted to share with you today. I hope that you use this information this week, and that you pay attention to the voices in your life. And as you pay attention to the voices in your life, guess what? You have the power to change them. If they are voices that are not empowering, if they disempower you in any way, you have the power to change it. And that's one of the things that I believe has been the consistent theme for the last 3 weeks in these Sacred Self-Love Sundays, is that you are the one that's in charge. You have the power to shift and change your life accordingly. So let me go to the comments. I'm still getting used to the Instagram live. I'm so used to Facebook live. And so let's see here. Hi, Sandra. I said hi, Sandra. Let's see. Doing well. Good. Glad to be here. I'm glad you were here today. It is like the birds. They don't look for food. Yes. Birds depend on God and never toil. I started feeding them, and they are never afraid. Never. I love that. Hi, Marissa. And hi, Latanja. And then Sandra, you says the I am statements are powerful. Yes, let me talk about that really quickly before I get off. The I am statements are very powerful. Here's the thing. When you say I am, anything that you say after saying I am, you are identifying that with and to yourself. So if you're constantly saying I am sick of XYZ, then you're calling sickness towards you. If you are saying I am well, then you will be well. You're calling wellness towards you. The Bible says, let the weak say, I am strong. And not I will be strong, not I'm going to be strong, not one day I'll feel strong. It says, let the weak say, I am strong. In other words, you identify where you are, and where you are may not be in your experience what you know it to be in reality. And I know, Sandra, you understand this language. May not be, what in your experience, what is truth in reality, but you can speak reality so that it can change your experiences. And so to do that, you use the words I am. I like to put it this way. We have two forces that are around, or two beings, or two powers, or whatever whatever way you want to word it. But there is the God-like conditions and help And then there is the dark side. And so the beauty in it is this, that whenever you use your words, whatever you're saying, you are activating that side. So if you're saying I am sick, you are activating that dark forces to make you sick. But if you are saying I am well, you are activating the light forces to make you well. And here's the thing, it all comes from inside of you anyway. It all comes from inside of you. There is nothing outside of you coming into you. You know, it all is a well from within you that we have to really be mindful of and choose, you know, what we're going to say and what we're going to be, what we're going to do, what we're going to have for our lives. So thank you for saying that. Let me see, are there any more comments? No more comments? Well, thank you so much for being with me today for Sacred Self-Love Sundays. I hope this message was inspiring to you, and maybe it encourages you to just take some time this week to check the voices that are in your life and use your words to change them. Okay, use your words to change them, because you have the power to do so. So I look forward to sharing with you next week. I send love, light, peace, and blessings to you. Take care.